Mhm.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Huck with the Ed Huck team and my new platform, the Agent of Change. And I have a really special guest with us today. It is Ryan Young with the Young team. And Ryan and I have known each other for many years. We actually started in this crazy world of real estate together. I was licensed in 2009. Ryan, when were you licensed? Same year?
2009. Great
All
year to get
right.
licensed in real estate.
And so 2009 is just 1 year after the large shift, we call it, or the recession. And so we're going to touch on that. But Ryan, before we do, can you just tell everybody who may not know you or your real estate team a little bit about yourself and your team and your production? Because it's pretty
Sure.
impressive.
Thank you for having me. So Ryan Young, the Young team is our team. We are a KW team based out of the East Side, but sell all over Northeast Ohio.
Mhm.
As Julie said, got licensed in the end of 2009. Joined my folks actually who sold real estate, and just thought real estate seems like fun and seemed easier probably than what I thought it was. And I could make my own schedule and I didn't have a boss. So I thought it was like just all like easy peasy, right?
Mhm.
Um, we started growing the team in I think 2013 or 14. We are now a team. We have 13 agents. Last year we sold about 550 homes, 175 million in volume. We are very focused on average agent per productivity is really important to us. So helping our agents and supporting our agents get the most out of each and every individual that participates in our ecosystem. For us, it's more of we kind of like to consider a little bit more of like a denser model versus like a very wide model. And it's just something that we've had some success with.
Which is awesome. I mean, that's a
Really
huge
proud of it.
number for just 13 agents. And I know we have a lot of similarities. We did grow up together in the real estate business. I joined my husband's team. He was already established. And I don't know about you, but I like to say when I joined, everything really exploded. I'm sure it was the same on the young team, right?
Yeah, what's funny is, I mean, the first couple of years, I actually really wasn't. I was like doing all the administrative work. I was taking photos of properties. I was putting signs in,
Yeah.
um, and I was starting to obviously like build my business. But I was 26 at the time,
Mhm.
and it was one of those things. Like it was very, very unique times, and things were the market was just in a rough, weird place. I'm grateful for it. It actually, if you can build a business and accelerate a business with all that resistance,
Mhm.
it's amazing when that resistance starts to let up how much faster you can run. And I'm grateful that I actually got into the business uh, completely, you know, coincidentally, in the probably worst possible time to get into real estate. And it's same thing with you. It's like it just worked. It's like we just haven't stopped since then.
So, what was it like? Let's talk about that very interesting, weird time, because I know a lot of people can't even fathom what that was like in real estate. Tell me about what was going on, in your business, in your parents' business, like when you joined. What was it like?
I think what was the most interesting thing about it is there were a lot of people whose houses depreciated so fast and lost the majority of their equity where they weren't in a financial position to actually sell, right? Mortgage with the mortgage crisis also like lending laws completely tightened up. So now there was very few people that could actually get a mortgage. And so what ended up happening was, and what I observed for the first like 3, 4 years in the business was there were people that wanted to sell. They just didn't have the money to bring to the table to sell. And that's a very weird market to be in, right? It's
Mhm.
a it created a lot of stress between, we would sit down with families at their house and like, they're, they'd open up to us about the financial struggles and stuff like that. And it was much more emotional based. Like, and it was very unique. And I actually am like, to kind of like transport back to that 12 years ago or whatever it was. You forget what it's like. There was no these multiple offers, and there was no houses selling first day on market. It was begging people for price adjustments, and for them to have to find a way to make up the difference of the balance of the mortgage they owed versus what the house sold for because they were underwater. And so it's just very, very different times. But once again, if you can overcome those type of times, it's amazing how everything just becomes so much easier. The objections become less severe, and I think that was really, really one of the things I attribute to some of the success that I've personally had just in business in general.
Well, and that leads into, so how, you said when you first started, you jumped in and just did whatever it took, because that's kind of how our businesses were back then. And same for
Yeah,
me. I mean, I've done everything in the business from, start to finish, all of it. Marketing, listing input,
all of it.
closing coordinator, we've done it all. I never ever want to go back to the administrative side of the business ever for the rest of my life, because it
Not my
was
strength either.
definitely not my strong suit. So tell me though, how did you learn how did you thrive in that time? What did you and your parents and your team do at that point?
I got a coach, and
Mm,
the coach was really helpful for me. I turned to straight lead generation, and I became a lead generation based business essentially, which my parents never did because they just over time built a very like nice consistent book of business. But I got a coach, and I became like the expired guy, the FISBO guy, the lead generation based mindset. And so I had a very unique, I would say, like at the time I was 20, this was about 2 years in. So I was like 28. I was fortunate because I started like really lead generating for first time home buyers, which were my friends I grew up with, people moving back to Northeast Ohio. And then at the same time, I was lead generating for expired listings, FISBO, stuff like that.
yep,
So those were like my two like main channels that like I really started to build foundationally on.
yep.
Um, I had one other pillar that actually I kind of like fell into, which was an investor pillar.
Mm,
And I started to, the more I was lead generating, the more I found a lot of investors that were selling their houses by owner on Craigslist and, places like that. And I started just constantly following up where I started to create relationships with them and started working with some of those investors, you know, a little bit more consistently. Before you know it, they became kind of like my investor. And so those were like my three really big pillars until I started to establish like a healthy like database past clients. And then next thing you know, once I hit 5, 6 years into the business, even right when we first started to grow a team, it just got to the point where the phone just rang. And shame on me, I actually stopped calling expireds and FISBOs, which probably slowed down the growth a little bit. But we had so much business coming to us directly because of what we built over that 3, 4 years that it just became so much easier.
right, right. Well, I know you're a lead generation guru, because I remember being in Bold making our phone calls next to each other, and I was going to for sure beat you in the amount of appointments I would make. I'm not sure who won. I'm sure it was me, of course,
Of
but
course.
yeah.
Of course.
But then,
You know
but
what?
then, you're doing
It,
pretty good now, so it was okay.
it's one of those things that I learned that I got very competitive with scripting, and
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time role playing, and I spent a lot of like working on my craft. And
Mm.
I think that was really beneficial. And that was something my coach pushed me towards. And the funny thing is, I role played with someone around the country every day at like 7 a.m. And I've still actually like am very close with the people that I used to role play with. This was 7, 8, 9 years ago. And all of us have grown pretty big businesses.
Mhm.
And it's just cool. We all started as like individual agents or very small teams. And it's just crazy when you see the skill set that we developed because of the commitment we had to that. It's just really interesting to see how that is a skill set, a foundational kind of pillar of our business is
Right.
being able to actually go and convert. Because when the market shifts, which it's kind of doing right now, the people that don't have that skill set are going to struggle.
That's right. That's right. Now, how? just for some of the agents that, I've talked to, and I'm sure you have talked to as well, a lot of our agents don't really see the shift. They're not really sure that it's happening, but they keep hearing people tell them we're in a shifting market. How do you know we're in a shifting market?
Yeah, I mean, here's what's interesting is the psychological challenge is just because homes are selling over asking, that's not the type of shift that we're in, right? Versus like compared to where we were 10, 11 years ago, where prices completely deflated, right?
Right.
It's all about right now transaction count, unit count, right? And so I think in 2021, there's over 6 million homes that have sold. And last year, there was maybe just over 5 million. This year, projecting there will be just over 4 million. So we went from 6 million to 4 million ish, right? That's 33% less homes that have sold. And I don't know if we have seen 33% less agents in the business.
Right.
So
Exactly.
therefore, essentially, there's less opportunities per agent. And
Mhm.
so I think it's a different, unique kind of shift where psychologically, we're still seeing homes selling multiple offers. So it feels like the market's not shifting, but it's a very different type of shift based on the actual amount of transactions versus where price points are.
That's right. That's 100% right. And I will even say personally, I've been noticing, my sphere of influence in our database. I've been noticing some people that are using agents, not me, and heaven forbid, and shame on me, because obviously I'm not doing a well enough job keeping up with them, but agents I've never heard of and who just got in the business. So there is, if you're not on top of your database, if you're not doing your lead generation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They will use anybody. And so it's
100%.
really, really important for all of us. And so, Ryan, tell me what, so now that we know kind of what we're up against and how this market is changing, what advice would you give all agents out there, whether you're brand new and you're starting in this shifting market or you've been a seasoned agent for years?
I think the key is effort right now. Effort over
Mhm.
everything. You got to work twice as hard to produce the same results that you maybe did last year. That's okay. The only thing you can control is effort. You can't control an appraisal. You can't control a buyer that buys a house at an open house. You can't control but you can control your effort. And if you're not willing to go all out right now, you're going to struggle. So I would just say go all in, lean into it. And I think those are the people that will succeed.
Well, and I really liked what you said earlier about you had three pillars that you knew you were good at and you focused on. And that might be, I mean, I think that that would be my advice for folks too is what are you really good at? What do you love doing? And how can you focus on that?
Yeah.
On those pillars. Uh, so, so Ryan, tell me, moving forward, I know you have a lot of exciting things going on. You have a couple different businesses that you're working with. And if anyone wants to talk to you or ask you more questions about your different businesses, can you just share those with us or just share people how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we do, and we've got to wrap it up there just real
Hmm.
quick. We have a technology company that's scaled around the country called Fellow, which is a
Hmm.
seller lead generation platform. And then, constantly looking for new ventures, and it's the entrepreneurial spirit that's hard
Hmm.
to shut off. But, it's one of those things that it's like just however we can mastermind, however I can support, it's like surrounding myself with people like Julie and Ed.
Hmm.
Like these are the people that we need to stick closely together to in these type of unique markets.
That's right.
And because I think I've found just it makes me stronger, and hopefully I can contribute to help them be
Mhm.
stronger.
And so, yeah, so Ryan's got this awesome platform called Fellow that he created, and as well as his real estate team, which is the Young Team. So if you want to
Yep.
look him up, that's how you find him online. And Ryan, it's been so awesome to get together with you and see
You
you
are the
face to
best.
face, even though it's over a Zoom. And we wish you and your team the best of luck. and we appreciate your time.
Well, you know how I feel about you and Ed and your team. Appreciate you guys. I'm always here for you.
All right. Have an awesome day. See you later.
See
Bye.
ya.